didn't think you were gonna bite it that hard. What are you doing? All right, so you're going on a walk with me. I wish I had like a steady cam, but I do not. Hit the afternoon slump, just got real sleepy, so I decided to take a walk. The problem is, it started raining, and I didn't realize that until I got outside, and I was like, whatever, I don't care. So, it's pretty gloomy, but okay, so I picked up The Shadow in the Glass, and I had no idea really what it was going to be like. The back of the book kind of describes it as a gothic Cinderella retelling, and I was like, okay, that sounds pretty cool. So I pictured like Jane Eyre meets Cinderella. I think it's a little bit more like Wuthering Heights meets Cinderella, with maybe a dash of Stephen King thrown in. I'm not sure. I finished part 1 because they're not really chapters, it's just parts. I don't know how I feel about it. I like the writing, but it also feels kind of heavy-handed at times too, where she's got some nice prose, she's got some nice similes, but there's a lot of them, and sometimes I'm like, yeah, calm down, you don't need all that. But I don't know, we'll see how it goes. I feel like it's a risky, maybe I'll DNF it kind of a book. Because I'm like half enjoying it and half really not enjoying it. But I'm definitely not far enough in to really say one way or another. But that's my update. That's the book that I chose, and I will let you guys know how it goes. Okay, so this is just going to be a quick before and after. This is before, and don't mind the gigantic zit apparently that I have on my face, but and then the after. So I'm making my way through The Shadow in the Glass, and I'm really still not sure about it. I think I'm already well into part 3, and the only things that have happened so far are she made one wish as a request. Rough, rough, yes, yes. Yes, you're a killer. She made one wish as like a test wish, and it came true. And then she talked for like, I don't know, it felt like 50 pages about how she had to be so smart about it, can't waste her wishes, can't waste your wishes. And then she goes and she makes a really stupid wish that she didn't actually mean to make. And it's like, is this a story with a dumb protagonist? Because I'm not up for that right now. Like, I don't know, don't spend 50 pages harping on how smart you have to be and then make a really dumb mistake. And it's not that the mistake, like, I can't get past it. It wasn't necessarily believable, but it flew in the face of like everything you'd been reading for a long time. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I feel about it. And again, I go back and forth on the prose because some of it is nice, some of it is pretty, and then some of it is like, okay, you've done 3 similes in a row. I don't need a 4th. And then some of the similes that she uses, a little heavy-handed, a little bit like trying too hard. Things that they don't exactly make sense. So I'm still not sure how I feel about it. I think probably her 3rd wish is going to be like my deciding factor. Like, is this worth it or not? So we'll see. I'm going to see how much more I can get into it. Also, it feels like it's taking a really long time to get the story moving, and not just her thinking, I gotta be smart about these. I gotta figure out exactly what I want. I gotta figure out how to do it. What do I want? How do I do it? I gotta be smart about this. Like, okay, do something now. Isn't that right? Come here. What you doing? Do you agree with my assessment? Do you agree with my assessment? Zoe, shall I read it to you? Are you my little literary hound? Come on, little latte. Let's go in the house. Come on. Let's go in the house. Good morning. Good morning. Ignore the crazy hair. I slept on it wet. And apparently it does weird stuff, especially when it's short. So I just wanted to do a quick update. I still don't know how I feel about The Shadow in the Glass. I did get to the 3rd wish, and it is just after the wish is made, and she thinks that it actually worked. She thinks it took effect, but I've not gotten like to see the outcome of it. I just wasn't feeling it though, so I started another book, this time an audiobook, and it is called The Salvation of a Saint, and I don't remember the name of the author. It is a Japanese author. It's a translated work, obviously. It is a detective novel, murder mystery kind of thing. And I had it on my list of like to read or wish list, and so I was scrolling through trying to find something maybe that was going to be just right away available in Libby, and that one came up as available, so I just started it. I didn't really have like a specific desire to have like a detective novel or anything, but I tried it anyway, and I think I'm most of the way through. It's okay. Obviously I'm not finished with the book, so they haven't caught the murderer. I'm pretty sure I know who it is because of the way that it introduces you to the characters. It kind of makes it clear from the beginning who likely did it, and then it's just a matter of catching them, proving it. I forgot what this was going to be about because I went through like a list of 67 or 68 books or something that I had been saving on my phone as I heard about them, and putting into my wish list in Goodreads and in Audible. And so it was just in there, and I'm like, okay, it's available in Libby. I'm gonna go with this one. So I vaguely read very quickly through the plot on Goodreads after I listened to it for a couple of chapters, and it's not, I don't think it's so much supposed to be about the detectives as it is this other, what I thought was a side character. They go to this university professor for help when they kind of get stuck on the case, and I think it's more about him than it is about the detectives, or maybe they're both supposed to be a combination, but in the synopsis it talks more about the university professor as being kind of like the genius that helps with really tough cases. So, you know, we'll see. So far I'm enjoying it. I think I know who did it, and I think I know how, but not exactly how. Like, I think I know what's going to be the key to the case, just not the, like, very specific methodology that it was used in. So I'm excited to see if I'm right, because I'm usually not. I'm usually definitely not right in these things, but it's been okay so far. I think my biggest problem with it is the narrator. He reads so slowly. And I'm not one to listen to audiobooks on like 2 times speed or higher, because to me that's just insane. I can't keep up with it, and 2, when I can keep up with it, I'm just listening for the sake of having read a book, and it doesn't feel like I'm giving myself any time to enjoy it. And so I don't really like doing that. I have this one on 1.75 because he reads so slowly. 1.75 is fast, but not speedy. It's not like a speed demon read. So it's really, really weird. Like, I don't know how you read that slowly. But now now that I'm getting more into audiobooks, I can understand how people can listen to them at 2 times speed, and how some people say I can't listen to them any slower than X. And it's like, I totally get it now. The pacing, it seems like, is for audiobooks is just by default very slow. So I will be done with that probably this morning, and I'll give a little bit of update later once I get finished. But I'm just, okay, so this is just insane, and I'm gonna go wash my hair and completely just dry it like a normal person, because this is a hot mess. But you gotta see this back. I mean, look at that. Look at that. So I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I typically have straight hair. Now this, what you're seeing is straight hair on the sides that has been, it's got like a salt spray in it to try to give it some texture, and then wrapped up and, you know, in a microfiber twisty towel, and then slept on. And this is the most that I could get out of it as far as texture, as far as wave. But if I leave this alone, or even if I keep messing with it, within an hour, this will be even straighter. This back, though, is curly. And it started like 2.5 years ago. It started just about the time the pandemic did. And it's literally coming out curly from the roots. And last time, not this time that I went to get my haircut, the time before, where I just had like a little bit chopped off, I asked my hair girl who was cutting it. I never met her before, but I was like, hey, do you know what could cause this? And she was like, I've not really seen this before. And she's like, hold on a second, let me try something. So she got I think like a curl setting something. I don't know, curly hair products. I don't know if it was a spray. I don't think it was a spray. I think it was like maybe a cream. And she put it in the back of my hair, and my hair, like I said, was longer at the time. And she's like, oh my gosh. And she held it out behind me so I could see. And it was a perfect spiraled ringlet. She's like, yeah, you don't have, I thought I had wavy hair. She's like, you don't have wavy. You have perfectly curled ringlets back here. And they're coming out at the root. They're not curling partway down, which is what she was suspecting. And she's like, but that's the only part of your head. You like just this one little patch in the back has ringlets and everything else is straight. And she even tried to curl the rest of my hair. It wouldn't take. So I don't know what to do with that. It's really weird to have 70% of your hair be straight and not want to do anything with, even with product, which is what I've dealt with most of my life, all my life. And then to have this little patch of curly hair that just will do whatever it wants. So actually the haircut that she gave me it was mostly razored, and then she textured it in a little bit. It's working really well because the curls in the back are, you know, poofing out and giving me some volume. And then because she stacked and razored it so well on the sides, I'm getting some natural volume there. And I can use enough product and drying techniques to get a little bit of shape, wave, something on the sides. So I don't know, you guys are going on my hair journey with me because I don't know what to do with this. I have looked up everything I could find about changes in hair texture, why they happen, how they can happen. And a lot of what I found was menopause or pregnancy are big triggers in changing women's hair, but more so they tend to be all over. And I couldn't really find anything where, like my situation, where a small patch has completely changed. But the only answer I could find online, the only answer that I could find at the hairdressers, the only answer I could even find from some of my friends who are very, very knowledgeable about hair, is that it was probably something to do with hormones. Even possibly like a severe trauma can, you know, cause a huge shift, a huge hormone imbalance, according to everything that I found. But it tends to be kind of all over. So even at the hairdresser, the first time, she called over their curly hair expert to come take a look. And the girl was like, yeah, that happens. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah, we don't know why. Like, it's never, they've not found why it does that. And she said she has seen a few people that have had like a patch of curly hair. She goes, the weird thing about you is that it's in the back. She said, usually every time she's ever seen it, it's been like on the sides. She's like, I've never seen somebody just have a patch in the back. So I don't know what to say. But we're going to do our best with this hair. I love the cut. I absolutely love it. I actually, as soon as I got home and I did a quick video of the new cut, I immediately washed it out and just let it air dry while I was, you know, kind of scrunching it. Because when the girl cut my hair, she blow dried it more than I would do. I'm so lazy. Every time I get my hair cut, they're like, oh, what are you looking for? And I'm like, I don't style, I don't use product, and I don't give myself any time other than what is direly necessary to wake up in the morning and look presentable. I'm like, I want something easy. I will blow dry it because it takes forever to dry otherwise. I don't have super thick hair. I have a ton of it though. And so they just layer it so that it's got movement. And then when I dry my hair, I literally just tip my head upside down and brush it and blow dry while I'm brushing it. That's the most I do. So now with this haircut, it still took 3 hours to dry, I think, completely. And it's summer and I was outside and it still took like 3 hours for my hair to dry. But with the air drying and with some salt spray, and, you know, I tried a little bit of mousse and a hair dryer the other day just to see if I could do something with my hair as an adult person who should know how to do this stuff. And it's coming out okay. So I think it's just because it's a fantastic cut. My girl did such an amazing job. But yeah, I have a feeling in my videos going forward, there might be some craziness going on. So we'll go through this together. And if I learn anything more about my hair, I will let you guys know. But if anybody out there has any idea or knows anything about this or has seen this before, please tell me in the comments what the heck is going on. Like, do you know what causes this? Do you know anybody that this has happened to? And also, do you guys have any tips? Like, does anybody out there know what to do with like a patch of curly hair but then the rest straight? Like, should I be doing something for my curls? Because the hair that is curled feels texture-wise so different than the rest of my hair. I'm used to my hair being very silky, and I wouldn't even need to brush it. I could go a week without brushing my hair because I just run my fingers through it. Boom, it's done. There's no tangles. It's shiny as all get out. It's slippery, which is why it would never take styling. So now I have semi that. It's not quite as shiny. It's not quite as slippery and silky as it used to be, but it's still very soft on the sides. And then I just have this curl stuff in the back that I do not know what to do with. I don't know, do I need different kinds of shampoo? Do I need different, like, how do I have healthy, good hair? My biggest thing has always been my hair being healthy. I don't like hairspray. I don't like coloring my hair. I don't want to do anything to damage it. I want to have healthy hair. That's more important to me than something that can be perfectly styled. So if you have any tips, information, just anything, leave me some comments down below so I can try to get some more knowledge. I want to learn more about this. So okay, so that's it for now, and I will be checking in with you guys later with my final thoughts, probably on Salvation of a Saint. And obviously I'm going to talk about it in my wrap up, so I'm not going to go too in depth to it, but I am curious to find out, was I right? Because I feel like I know what's going to happen. So we will see. I just finished Salvation of a Saint by Keigo Higashino, and it was very interesting. I probably overused that word now that I think about it in my descriptions. I'm gonna have to come up with something less repetitive to describe books. I enjoyed it. I was right about the killer, and I don't think that's impressive because you kind of learn on like page 1 who the killer is. There's some back and forth where you might kind of question yourself, not too much though, which is really interesting to have a detective story where you know who the killer is, the detectives don't, but you go along with the detectives finding out the method of the killing. And from the beginning, you kind of know the method, you know the tool that was used to do the killing, but you don't know exactly how it was done. And the detectives kind of get stumped along the way, and that's where this university professor comes in. And they call him the Galileo of crime, or the Galileo of something. It's a nickname for how brilliant he is and how out of the box he can think to help with cases. And so he starts looking objectively at the evidence without the preconceived biases of the detectives. There's some really interesting hypotheses that come up. And so I said in my last update that I was pretty sure I knew at least part of how the killing was done. I was kind of right, but I was also kind of wrong. So the key piece of evidence that I kept thinking about, even though it wasn't really focused on in the book so much, I just had this feeling that it was going to be very, very important, if not the key to the crime. I was right that it was the key, it was one of the keys to figuring it out. I was wrong about why. At least at the beginning. As it got very, very near the end, even though the piece of evidence was not being directly, like it wasn't like the biggest focus, I was pretty sure that I was onto something, and I was right. So that I really actually liked that. I liked that I had picked up on a few pieces of the puzzle along the way that I think were laid out very well. I think if you're looking very hard for evidence as though you're one of the detectives, I think there's enough there for you to pick it up, but it's by no means super obvious, I don't think. So I enjoyed it. I kind of felt like I got a good workout in my brain. I picked up on some subtle clues, and I'm actually very happy about that. I feel like maybe I'm getting better at deciphering some of the mysteries. So I would definitely read this author again. I will probably do a little bit more of an in-depth on this in my wrap-up, just because, you know, if I talk too much about them in my reading vlogs, I'm not really gonna have enough to talk about in my wrap-up, or it's gonna be completely repetitive. So as you can tell, I really did not get a chance to do anything with the mop on my head, but that's because this is only about 30 minutes after my last update. I only had about 23 minutes left in the book, but I was listening to it on 1.75 or 2 times, so I got through it pretty quickly. Yeah, I would definitely read from this author again. And I want to say Salvation of a Saint is, I believe it's the second book focusing on this character, this Galileo character, by this author. So I think I might try to find book 1 and see how many books there are in a series. I definitely think that this would be a series that I would pick up. I would probably give the book maybe 3.25 stars. I don't know if part of it was the narrator for me that was kind of meh. Not bad, but just not really engaging. But I think the characters were well done. I think the motivations were very deeply explored, because it is a detective novel and literally what you're looking for is motive. But I think the detectives, even though they weren't the focus necessarily of the story, and you had third person for the narration of the book, but it didn't really dive into how exactly the detectives were feeling. But it gave you enough context for why they were thinking certain things, why they suspected certain people, why their perspectives and points of view were different, why they focused, you know, there was, I think, 3 detectives on the case, a head detective and 2 junior detectives, and each one had a different perspective. They each had different suspects that they thought had, you know, stronger motive, stronger opportunity, and they suspected those people more so than what the other detectives expected or suspected. And I think that was really interesting, because a theme of the book that kind of kept coming up was to look at things from a different perspective, not allow your bias to color the questions that you asked, the answers that you were searching for, and the people that you suspected. And I really liked that, because I think it was a good example of how your own personal bias, even when you're trying to solve a case and you're trying to be unbiased, how your own personal bias can lead you down a path because that's what you want the path to be, rather than going down the path because that's what the evidence is telling you. So yeah, I liked it. I would say 3.25. I don't think a total 3.5 stars. A 3 I think is really great, a really good book. I think 3.25, just because it was better than just good, but it wasn't fantastic. I wasn't completely drawn in into the story, but I did enjoy it. So yeah, that's it for now, and I'm probably going to try to pick back up The Shadow in the Glass today. and try to get a little bit more reading on that done. I still don't know if I'm going to continue with it. There's such a heavy hand in the prose sometimes that it kind of bothers me, but I want to know if this is a dumb protagonist or not, because if it is, I'm probably going to DNF it. I don't, unless they're intentionally, like, unless there's a very specific character driven reason for them to be dumb and make stupid decisions. I don't like making stupid decisions just to move the plot forward. So we'll see. And that's all I have for now, and I will see you guys later. What? Roary, what is it?